Alone in the woods, brutal soldier chased, then two girls' insane promise to save him. The air was thick with tension, and the forest loomed like a dark curtain ready to drop. Just beyond the tree line, a soldier, rugged and disheveled, sprinted for his life. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum, every muscle screaming for rest. He was not just running from something, he was running toward something, a truth hidden in the shadows of the towering pines. A chill ran down his spine, not from the cool night air, but from the third pair of eyes watching him from the bushes, two young girls whose youthful innocence was about to clash with harsh reality. One girl, raven-haired and fierce, held her breath, her wide eyes reflecting the flickering light of a distant fire. The other, a shy blonde, clutched a tattered map, her fingers trembling. This was no ordinary night for either of them. They had made a pact, a promise that felt monumental against the haunting silence of the woods. They would save him or die trying. But what could two girls possibly do against whatever dark force hunted the soldier? In the distance, the echo of growling voices crept through the branches, blending with the rustling leaves. Shadows flitted by, quick and deadly, as if the very trees were alive with the spirit of the hunt. Uncertainty gripped the girls, and suddenly, the forest felt smaller, more suffocating. Would they even get the chance to act, or would fate pull them under before they could take a single step? In that chaotic moment, when bravery clashed with fear, a flicker of hope lit within them. They were going to save him. Why? They couldn't say. Maybe it was the soldier's haunted face that drew them, in a face that mirrored their own vulnerabilities. Maybe it was the promise of adventure that called out in whispers. One thing was for certain, things were about to get wild. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the girls exchanged quick, determined glances, they felt the weight of their resolve. They teetered on the edge of uncertainty, and fear pulsed in their veins. Every second felt like an eternity, resonating with the whispered promise they had made. But just as they readied their hearts for the plunge into danger, a scream shattered the silence, a blood-curdling sound that reverberated through the trees. What if they were too late? Could they really change the course of fate? With a surge of adrenaline, they charged into the woods, leaving behind a world of safety in pursuit of a darker truth. Branches whipped at their faces as the girls plunged deeper into the darkness. The distant scream echoed in their ears, a stark reminder of the urgency propelling them forward. They maneuvered through thick underbrush, their feet stumbling over twisted roots and damp earth. Every crack of a twig beneath their shoes sounded like a gunshot in the oppressive quiet. "We have to hurry," the raven-haired girl, Tara, urged, her voice barely above a whisper. She didn't dare look back, afraid what she might see would crush their flickering hope. What if we can't find him?" Sarah's shaking voice broke through the tension, her bright blue eyes wide with fear. Each word chipped away at her bravery, but they had sworn to face the unknown together. "What if no? We will find him," Tara snapped harshly. She was the brave one, but doubt gnawed at her. They both stumbled to a halt, the weight of the choices ahead pressing heavily on their chests. Tara glanced at the frayed map, its edge crumpled from their tight grip. "There." She pointed, spotting a clearing up ahead just as the haunting growls crescendoed once more, closer this time, cruel and relentless. Panic spurred them on, every step was a desperate attempt to evade whatever hunted the soldier. They broke into the clearing. The moonlight spilled over the trees like spilled milk, illuminating the space, but no sign of him. The air pulsed with an electric charge of fear. It felt alive, almost pulsing with anticipation, matching the rapid beat of their hearts. Suddenly, from the shadows, the soldier stumbled into view. He appeared even more ragged than before, breathless, terror etched deep into his features. "Run!" he rasped, his voice ragged. But something deep within those haunted eyes broke Tara's heart. "Wait! We're here to help!" she cried out. But the soldier had already turned, his instincts overriding reason. He sprinted again, forcing them to chase after him, even as another horrifying shriek pierced the air. The noise sent chills racing down Tara's spine. Something monstrous was closing in. Desperation clawed at Sarah. "What are we supposed to do?" she shouted, panic rising like bile in her throat. "He doesn't trust us." With a steely resolve, Tara called out again, desperate to break through the chaos. "We're with you. Just lead us out." They needed to reach him, needed him to see they were not threats but allies. As they ran, the shadows merged, and they could hear the harsh breathing of something lurking just beyond the veil of darkness. A low growl rumbled like thunder, vibrating beneath their feet, and Tara felt a rush of adrenaline pump through her veins. In an instant, the soldier turned sharply at a fork in the path. The forest offered no choice but to follow his decision to go left or right. And as Tara's eyes darted between the two paths, her breath caught. One bore the signs of a struggle, fresh claw marks raked into bark. The other looked untouched but stretched into the unknown. The sound of snapping twigs erupted behind them, a promise of horror. Tara looked at Sarah, eyes wide with the urgency of their decision. Which way? Before they could decide, a massive shape burst from the treetops, claws swinging. Terror held them in place, paralyzing them within a breathless moment of clash between hope and gut-wrenching dread. Tara shouted, "Run!" But would it be enough? As the creature lunged, a piercing realization struck. They could either abandon the soldier to his fate or confront the darkness that threatened not just him, but all of them. With hearts pounding and no time to lose, betrayal or bravery would soon be decided. Would they finally take the plunge into the chaos, or was it already too late? Tara's heart thundered in her chest, and the world around her narrowed to a single point of focus. The clawed beast, twisted and massive, a living nightmare that had erupted from the forest's depths. Time felt like molasses as she watched the creature's glittering eyes lock onto them, a predator sizing up its prey. "Go left!" she screamed, yanking Sarah's arm hard, breaking the paralysis that gripped them both. "Now!" They sprinted into the untouched path, the underbrush clawing at their legs as they ran. Tears of fear blurred Tara's vision. She could still hear the sounds of the soldier's frantic gasps peppering the night air behind them. He was alive, but would he remain so for long? Branches cracked and snapped, echoing their desperate flight. The growls from the beast behind them roared with pure rage, a demonic chorus urging them to keep moving. As they dashed deeper into the forest, Tara's mind raced with worry. Had they made the right choice? Could they stay ahead of it? "Do you think we lost it?" Sarah panted, her voice quivering, eyes darting nervously around them. "I don't know, just keep running," Tara shouted, her throat dry and raw. The shadows swallowed them whole, the moonlight struggling to pierce the thick canopy above. Their path twisted and turned, each corner a torment of uncertainty. Suddenly, a gut-wrenching howl pierced the air, freezing Tara in her tracks. It was closer this time, hungrier. Heart pounding, she grabbed Sarah's hand tighter. The darkness felt oppressive, as if the forest were a living entity, a beast itself closing in around them, trapping them with every step. "Which way now?" Sarah gasped, her strength waning. Tara paused, glancing left and right, the underbrush thickening with an encroaching darkness. She spotted a faint flicker, a glimmer of what might be moonlight reflected off something metallic, an old, rusting signpost standing at an irregular angle. "Over there." Tara pointed, her heart racing again with desperate hope. They darted towards it, trusting instincts they didn't know they had. The sign creaked in the wind, leaning just enough to depict two faded directions, safe haven pointing one way and never return ominously leading the other. Safe haven. Sarah's eyes widened, a spark of hope igniting. "Let us go." But as they veered left toward it, the growls intensified, a primal snarl that resonated through the earth, chasing them along like a wave of malice. The ground trembled, and Tara felt her resolve slip. Would they even reach that glimmer of safety? Or was it merely part of the monster's relentless game? Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, she saw movement. The soldier. He burst onto the path from the side, his face pale and eyes wild. "You shouldn't have come this way," he yelled, urgency flooding his tone. Tara's breath caught. "Help us. It's behind us. No time. We have to split up, draw it away." The soldier's expression was one of grim determination, but Tara's heart sank. Splitting up felt like signing a death warrant. "No!" Tara shouted, panic clinging to her voice. "Not again. We can't leave anyone behind." But he was already turning, sprinting toward the dark depths they had just escaped. Without a plan, Tara and Sarah exchanged a sharp glance. They had to make a choice. Stay together or risk it all on the chance of saving him. As the growls rumbled once more, it became clear. The creature was gaining ground, and they would have to decide now or never. Terror rocketed through Tara, the wooden sign shuddering as if it were alive. It all came down to one choice, one moment teetering between salvation and doom. Would they abandon their promise, or hold on to a hope that might shatter? But as the first shadow loomed out of the depths, one thing became abundantly clear. The forest hid secrets darker than they could imagine, and the true hunt had only just begun. Tara's breath came in frantic gasps, a frantic rhythm that mirrored the chaos swirling around her. The decision loomed like a black storm cloud. Should they chase after the soldier or chase their own survival? "Stay with me," Tara urged, half as a promise and half as a plea. Sarah's face twisted in fear, but there was no time to debate. They hesitated only a moment, their legs locked in uncertainty, before the growl of the beast thundered closer, a growl that rumbled through the forest like an echo of death itself. "Let us go." Tara yanked Sarah along, tears streaming unchecked as they sprinted toward the glimmering sign that held some promise of safety. But as they dashed deeper down what felt like an endless corridor of trees, the life of the forest seemed to shift grotesquely. Shadows twisted like mournful specters, each rustle in the underbrush making their hearts race. Tara risked a glance over her shoulder, just in time to see the monstrous form slice through the trees, an embodiment of terror, its jaws snapping, hungrily searching. "Where do we go?" Sarah shrieked, her voice thin and wavering like a twig on the brink of snapping. "Anywhere but here," Tara shouted back, but it felt like empty words as they stumbled further into darkness. The forest enveloped them, and the moonlight became a distant memory. Tara felt it closing in, felt the breath of the creature at the back of her neck like a dark chill. Suddenly, Sarah stumbled, falling to her knees. I can't keep running." Tara's heart crashed against her ribcage. "We have to keep moving." She grabbed Sarah, yanking her back to her feet, but the darkness pulsed with a consuming presence. They had to break through this anguish, through the suffocating fear. From the corner of her eye, Tara caught sight of something, an old cabin, jagged and broken, shrouded in shadows like a ghost from time. Its roof sagged like an old man's shoulders, and the windows glinted like watchful eyes. "There!" she cried out, not waiting for a reply. She dashed toward it, her instincts screaming for safety. They tumbled inside, hearts racing, the wooden door slamming behind them. The air was stagnant, the smell of damp and decay hitting them like a wall. Tara peeked through a dusty window, breath held tight. Outside, the growling beast circled, claws scraping against the ground, as if savoring their scent on the wind. "Do you think it lost us?" Sarah whispered, voice trembling, her grip on Tara's arm like a vice. Tara shook her head. "I don't know," her heart sunk. "But we can't stay here. We need a plan." As silence fell around them, a sudden thud shook the cabin. A pounding at the door sent a bolt of adrenaline jolting through Tara. "It's coming." They backed away, pressing against the wall as the door buckled, wood splintering. "Move!" Tara shouted, her mind racing through possible escape routes. Musty beams loomed above, a shelf of dusty, decrepit books teetered ominously nearby, then she saw a trapdoor in the floor, half hidden beneath a moth-eaten rug. With little time to think, she yanked it open, her breath hitching as she saw the dark abyss below. "Get in!" she urged Sarah, as the door splintered again, another growl rumbling, the beast's breath thick and foul filling the air. Before they could second-guess, they slipped into the darkness below, Tara pulling the trapdoor shut just as the beast broke through. A terrifying silence enveloped them, the only sound their hurried breaths echoing off the ancient wood, but when they landed soundlessly on the ground below, an unsettling thought crept into Tara's mind: what lay in this darkness? What horrors awaited them now? As she strained to listen, a low voice echoed through the shadows, sending chills racing down her spine. "You shouldn't have come here." The feeling of dread returned, heavier than before. They were not alone. Just outside the trapdoor, the beast's growl morphed into something else, an eerie chuckle that suffocated the air, teasing them with the scent of fear. What had they unleashed? And who else lurked in this darkness? Tara's heart raced as the shadowy figure approached, leaving them hanging in disbelief. Would they survive this unknown, this true hell below? And what did it mean for the soldier they had left behind? The escape had only begun, but already the stakes were rising higher than ever. Darkness enveloped every inch of the underground space, pressing against Tara and Sarah with a weight that felt almost tangible. The voice lingered, echoing through the shadows, curling around them like tendrils of smoke. "You shouldn't have come here." The words coiled into Tara's mind, stirring a vivid sense of panic. Who was that? What did they mean? She glanced at Sarah, whose eyes widened in terror, reflecting the dim light filtering through tiny cracks in the trapdoor. I don't like this," Sarah stammered, her voice barely loud enough to pierce the oppressive silence. "Neither do I, but we can't show fear," Tara replied, shaking her head, trying desperately to inject some confidence into her tone. She just wished she believed it herself. "What if it's still out there?" Sarah whispered, trembling. "What if that thing, hey?" Tara interrupted, urgency lacing her voice. "We need to focus. We can't panic." They pressed deeper into the dark, feeling their way along the cold, damp wall. Tara's heart raced, but as she moved, something flickered in her peripheral vision. A faint light? She squinted, straining her eyes, and caught the glow of a pair of eyes nestled deep in the shadows. Tara's breath caught. Fear jerked her back. "Do you see that?" "What?" Sarah edged closer, peering into the darkness. "Over there." Tara pointed, her hand trembling. The eyes blinked slowly, illuminating a figure, a gaunt silhouette cloaked in tattered rags. Who are you?" The figure chuckled, a sound tinged with madness. Welcome to the depths." Its voice slithered through the air, wrapping around their throats, beckoning them closer. A chill crept over Tara's skin. "Do you know what lurks above?" The figure whispered, moving slightly closer, revealing a face of wild eyes and chaotic hair. "You've intrigued the beast." Tara felt the walls closing in. "We need to get out of here," she muttered, her mind racing with desperation. "Get out?" The figure laughed again, the sound erupting into a guffaw that echoed off the walls. "You think you can just leave?" "Not when it's hungry." From above, a guttural growl erupted, reverberating through the air. The creature had discovered the trapdoor was loose. Tara's heart skipped a beat, adrenaline screaming for action. "Come on." Tara yanked Sarah's arm, dragging her deeper into the shadows. The figure grinned, its teeth sharp and yellowed. "Run, little girls. But the darkness is hungry, too." Panic shot through Tara, and she sprinted, pulling Sarah along, heart pounding. The air felt electric, thick with tension as they navigated the labyrinth of shadows. The growls grew closer, melding into a haunting rhythm that stoked their fear. "Where do we go?" Sarah gasped, practically being dragged behind. Just keep moving," Tara urged, but her eyes darted back, expecting the creature to leap from the darkness at any moment. They continued to sprint until they found themselves in a larger space, a cavernous room dimly lit by an eerie phosphorescence, revealing walls lined with ancient symbols. The air felt dense, charged with something unnameable. "Look!" Tara pointed to a narrow passage ahead, barely large enough to squeeze through. "That way." As they rushed toward it, they heard footsteps behind them, slow, deliberate, yet heavy. The beast was close. Tara felt her stomach knot. Then they were through the opening, the passage growing smaller and narrower as they pressed on. "We can't stop now." "Keep going, Sarah." Just as they pushed forward, Tara felt a hand grip her ankle, sharp fingers snatching her back. She stumbled, the world spinning in horror. She turned to see the warped figure emerge, its ghastly grin stretching wider. "Your fate was sealed the moment you entered these woods." Tara's scream pierced the air as she struggled, but Sarah was right behind her, wrenching her free with a desperate pull. "We have to get out," Sarah cried, terror lighting her blue eyes. They dashed forward, but with every turn, the darkness seemed to pulse like a living entity, eager to swallow them whole. As they blinked back, tears, a thunderous roar, far louder than any before, shattered the air. The creature had breached the barricade. Tara's heart raced, pounding in time with the dawning realization. What awaited them ahead could be far worse than what chased them. As the exit loomed ahead, a figure stepped into view, shrouded in shadow. Was it friend or foe? Who could they trust anymore? "Follow me," the figure whispered in a voice they barely recognized but instinctively felt they could trust. But as they hesitated, the ground trembled, the ominous clatter of claws echoing around them. Would they escape, or had they stumbled into a trap even worse than before? Tara felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. The mysterious figure loomed in front of them, half hidden in shadows that seemed to writhe around him like serpents. She looked at Sarah, whose breath came in quick, sharp gasps, eyes wide with terror. "Do we trust him?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Tara replied, panic clawing at her throat. "But we don't have much choice." Before she could reason further, the figure stepped closer, revealing gaunt features and dark eyes that flickered with a spark of something like hope. "Time is running out," he said urgently. "The beast is close. Follow me if you want to live." The ground shook beneath them, a low rumble vibrating through the passage. Tara's instincts screamed at her to run, yet curiosity anchored her in place. Was he a savior or another trap? "Let us just go," Sarah cried, tugging Tara's arm, bringing her back to the present danger. Without waiting for further hesitation, they followed the figure into the shadows. They stumbled through the narrow passage, feeling the cold, damp stone brush against their skin. The air grew heavier, suffocating, like a shroud. "Do you know where we're going?" Tara asked, desperately trying to keep up with his long strides. "Yes," he snapped, urgency tinging his tone with an edge. "But we need to hurry, this way." He rounded a corner, and they followed, adrenaline pushing them past fear. Ahead, flickering lights twinkled like distant stars. They emerged into a wider chamber, awash with an eerie luminescence. Faded murals lined the walls, depicting battles long lost to time. Creatures with malevolent eyes swarmed around once proud warriors. "What is this place?" Sarah breathed, awed despite her fear. "An old refuge," the figure replied, voice dropping to a whisper. "These walls protect somewhat. But they can only hold the beast at bay for so long." The growls echoed through the chamber, low and menacing. Tara bit her lip. "Is there a way out?" "Not through here," he said, glancing anxiously toward the shadows. "But I can lead you to another exit, deeper within the labyrinth. You must trust me." Suddenly, the roar of the beast sounded even closer. Claws scraped against stone, sending icy terror through Tara's veins. "We don't have time for debates. Let us go." They sprinted through the chamber, the flickering lights illuminating their path like fireflies in the vast night. Every heavy footfall behind them felt like a countdown, and Tara could feel her lungs burning. As they raced forward, the figure pointed to a narrow archway. "Through there. It leads to the old service tunnels." "No!" Tara shouted as she skidded to a halt. "What if it circles back to the beast?" "I've been inside this system for years," he argued, desperation rising in his voice. "Trust me, this is the way out." Taking a deep breath, Tara glanced back. The darkness writhed, the creature's growls becoming unbearable. There was an instinct to flee, to move before it was too late. "Let us go," Sarah shouted, nudging Tara forward. "We have no other choice." Together they charged into the archway, hearts pounding wildly in unison. The passage wound deeper into the earth, each turn darker yet familiar with the scent of long-forgotten secrets. As they pressed on, Tara realized the lights had vanished, and what once felt like safety had now shifted. "We're trapped," Sarah cried, panic seeping into her voice. "There must be a way out," Tara insisted, trying to peer into the darkness. But the malevolent growl echoed back, louder now, booming like thunder through the confines of the tunnel. "Stay close," the figure shouted, his urgency now frantic. "This way." They dashed through a narrow squeeze, Tara shoving her shoulders against the stone. Something snapped behind them. A growl resounded, followed by the chilling sound of claws raking against the walls. "No!" Tara screamed, eyes scanning the dim passage for an escape route. Just as they reached a fork in the road, the shadows flared alive, tangling together as the beast materialized, a horrific, grotesque creature with glowing eyes and razor-sharp teeth that glittered in the faint light. "Run left," the figure yelled, but in that moment, doubt hit Tara like a brick. Was it too late? Would they find salvation or meet their doom in this hellish underground maze? As they took off in opposite directions, the creature lunged forward, forcing them to make a choice. Which path would lead them to escape or to an inevitable fate? The pounding of their hearts was drowned out by the savage roar that echoed around them, leaving only one haunting question: could they ever truly escape the darkness that hunted them? The darkness swallowed Tara whole as she sprinted down the narrow corridor. The sound of the beast's growl echoed from behind, a deep, unfurling wave of fury that sent chills coursing down her spine. Breathless, she skidded to a stop, eyes darting for any glimmer of light or hope. Her heart throbbed painfully in her chest, a brutal reminder that time was slipping away. "Sarah! Where are you?" she yelled, panic creeping into her voice. But there was only silence in response, heavy and oppressive. The tension in the air felt electric, blurring her thoughts. Tara could almost feel the beast's hot breath on her skin, primal and hungry. She turned around, weighing her options: back towards the creature or forward into the unknown. Breath hitching, she opted for the latter and pushed forward into the darkness, her hands brushing against the cold, damp walls. The path twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the abyss. Shadows danced in her peripheral vision, taunting her sanity. "Get a grip," she urged herself. "You can find Sarah." Each step felt like a leap of faith into a bottomless void, every sound amplifying the fear already hammering in her chest. "Sarah!" she called again, voice wavering. Suddenly, a muffled scream echoed in the distance. Tara froze, her blood running cold. "Sarah!" she shouted, running towards the sound, praying it wouldn't be too late. Her heart raced as her mind spiraled, imagining the worst. Finally, she stumbled upon a wider chamber, the air thick with the scent of decay. A single flicker of light caught her attention. She dashed towards it, sensing movement ahead. There, in the glow of a small torch, she saw Sarah, crouched and shivering against the wall. Relief washed over Tara, but it was quickly overshadowed by a wave of fear as she noticed the creature's silhouette stalking around the edges of the chamber. "We need to go, now." Tara grabbed Sarah's arm, pulling her to her feet. "It's right behind us." As they turned to flee, the creature charged, monstrous jaws snapping mere inches from Tara's arm. They ducked, narrowly avoiding the deadly swipe of razor-sharp teeth. The walls echoed with its furious roar, reverberating through the stone like a war cry. "Which way?" Sarah shouted, panic-stricken eyes darting. "Stay with me," Tara yelled, instinct pushing her to the left. They sprinted toward an exit, but the way was blocked by rubble. The beast was close, relentless. "Over here." Tara pointed to a low opening on the other side. They dove through it just as the creature lunged, its claws grazing Tara's leg and tearing through fabric. Pain flared, but she forced herself to keep moving. They crawled with frantic urgency, kicking debris behind them as the beast screeched in frustration, emerging into a new corridor. Tara could barely comprehend where they were. The walls were slick and adorned with strange symbols that seemed to pulsate. "What is this place?" Sarah gasped. "No time to think. We have to keep going." Tara's bloodied leg throbbed, but adrenaline pushed her to forge ahead. They pressed into the gloom, where the temperature seemed to plummet, carrying a palpable sense of dread. The creature was still behind them, its growls echoing in a maddening chorus. It was relentless. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette that mirrored the beast's terror. The figure stood tall, with a glimmer of something metallic in its hand. "Just a bit further," it urged, desperation carved into its features. "Who are you?" Tara demanded, halting just short of the apparition. "No time. We need to seal it." The figure gestured towards a door at the far end of the corridor, partially ajar, beckoning like a lighthouse in a storm. "Seal what?" Sarah whimpered, eyes wide with fear. "Seal the darkness. Or it'll consume us all." The urgency in the figure's voice sliced through the chaos, igniting a flicker of determination in Tara. Without thinking, Sarah tightened her grip on Tara's hand. "Trust him." A nod was all it took for them to bolt toward the door, clinging to hope as a shield against the horrors behind them. As they pushed through the door, the storm of growls grew louder, drowning out their breaths. They entered a room thrumming with energy, strange artifacts strewn across ancient tables, the air charged with a primal force. "Quick, we need to activate the seal," the figure shouted, pointing to a large pedestal at the center of the room. "What do we do?" Tara's voice cracked as fear coiled tightly in her stomach. "Focus. We must channel our fear into the seal," the figure ordered. They huddled closer, hearts pounding like drums. Just as they began to form a circle, the door behind them burst open, the creature lunging, monstrous jaws wide. "Now!" the figure barked, urgency painting every syllable. As they raised their hands toward the shimmering glow that filled the room, Tara felt warmth flood through her veins, an ancient power awakening within. The creature howled, fury blending with terror as it drew closer. Could they really seal it away? Or was this mere desperation in the face of inevitable doom? With one final roar, the beast plunged towards them. Tara's heart raced in time with the energy swirling in the air, but would it be enough to conquer the overwhelming darkness? The moment felt frozen in time. Everything hinged on what happened next, and the truth of their fate hung in the balance. Tara's heart stopped as the beast closed in, its razor-sharp teeth gleaming ominously in the dim light of the chamber. The metallic figure beside them, desperate as ever, waved them closer to the pedestal. "Channel everything. Fear, anger, hope, let it all flow into the seal." Sweat dripped down Tara's brow as she glanced at Sarah, whose eyes were wide with terror. But there was also a spark of determination flickering in her gaze. They were together, and together they might just stand a chance. "On three," the figure said, his voice a simmering whisper over the chaos. 1, 2, 3. All at once, they joined hands, forming a circle around the pedestal, pooling their fear like fire igniting in a hearth. A blinding light burst forth from the center, swirling with colors that seemed to hum with life. Now! The figure commanded, and they released their power into the seal. The ground trembled, and the air crackled. The beast paused, drawn back by an invisible force. Tara felt the surge of energy coursing through her, brighter than anything she had ever experienced. It surged and pulled, casting out tendrils of light, clawing at the shadows that crept around the room, but the moment was fleeting. The creature snarled again, shaking off the uncertainty as it charged forward, the walls vibrating with its anger. Panic gripped Tara's throat, her thoughts racing. What if the seal was not enough? What if they were too late? More! The figure cried, desperation painting his face. You have to dig deeper. Tara's heart raced. She couldn't back down. Sarah, focus. Think of everything we have to lose. Stars flashed behind her eyelids as Tara poured herself into the seal, feeling her own fears, her failures, every cold breath of past anguish feeding into the light. She thought of her mother's laughter, the warmth of summer days, and the promise of a future filled with unbroken sunlight. The aura shimmered, fluctuating in intensity. A massive weight still pressed against them, the beast taller than they could fathom, casting a suffocating shadow over their fragile hope. But then, something remarkable happened. Sarah's voice intermingled with Tara's, a soft chant threading through the chaos. We have to seal it away. We can't let it take us. The bond between them fortified as they drew courage from each other. Tara felt Sarah's strength bolstering her own, weaving golden threads of light. The horror of losing each other fueled a glorious fire inside. Suddenly, the beast lunged again, its jaws snapping, but the light exploded in brilliant radiance, throwing the creature back into the darkness. Keep pushing. The metallic figure urged, stretching out his hands, intertwining their powers. The roar of the creature crescendoed, shaking the very foundation beneath them. Tara's knees felt weak, her body struggling against the sheer force of the entity they were battling. Just as they felt their strength waning, the seal responded, pulsing with an energy so vivid, it pierced the dark. Tendrils of light coiled outwards, wrapping around the beast, pulling it away from them. Tara felt an overwhelming sense of relief. They might actually do this. But as the creature twisted, caught in the light, it released a raw, agonizing screech that gnawed at Tara's insides. It was clear this fight wasn't over yet. Hold on. The figure shouted, his eyes burning with intensity. As the energy propelled the creature back, it lashed out with one last desperate swipe, slashing at Tara's leg. Pain erupted fiercely, and she staggered, stumbling from the force. Get up, Tara! Sarah cried. With sheer willpower, Tara pushed through the agony, the bond they shared igniting a flicker of resilience. The seal was weakening, but they refused to let it collapse. Together. She gasped, and then, as if the universe conspired to bless their determination, the room exploded with light. The beast roared against its chains, struggling against the bind of their combined energy, its eyes burning with a feral hunger. Tara's heart pounded, teetering between fear and newfound hope. But just as they felt they were winning, the beast let out a blood-curdling howl, unlike anything they'd heard before, shattering the fragile momentum they'd built. It was a sound that spoke of ancient fury and desperation. Then, the ground quaked. The lights flickered ominously. Just as Tara tightened her grip, a sudden crack rang through the air. What was that? Sarah gasped, torn between wonder and terror. Tara looked up, despair washing over her. The pedestal trembled, and the symbols along the walls that once pulsed with energy began to dim. Not now. The metallic figure yelled, panic slicing through his tone. The very foundation of their sanctuary was shifting, and as the beast howled again, the darkness seemed to swirl, hungry for retribution, shifting and writhing as if it had a mind of its own. Hold on! Tara shouted, but as the world around them began to crumble, Could they truly seal away the darkness, or were they about to unleash something far worse? With the room collapsing around them, they braced for whatever came next, the air thick with uncertainty. As the shadows thickened, the question loomed large in Tara's mind. Would they bear the weight of their choice or become the darkness they sought to seal? The air crackled with tension, and the sound of the beast's howls echoed in the crumbling chamber, intertwining with Tara's swelling fear. The very walls seemed to scream, plaster and stone vibrating under the strain. "Keep your focus," the metallic figure shouted, his hands outstretched, as though willing the chaos to bend to their will. Tara gritted her teeth, grounding herself against the pain that lanced through her leg. Every heartbeat was a reminder, they needed to seal this creature away. "Look out!" Sarah's voice sliced through the madness as debris rained down from above. Tara ducked instinctively, pulling Sarah close as they stumbled backward. The pedestal glowed a ruddy orange, pulsating like a heartbeat, as it responded to their lingering fear. As the beast shook off the tendrils of light, its fiery eyes fixated on Tara, a fierce hunger marinating in its glare. The feeling of being hunted sent waves of ice slithering down her spine. "We can't let it get to us," she urged, breathing hard. "We've come too far." "Then do something," Sarah shouted, panic coursing through her voice. Tara focused on the pedestal. They were connected, but the seal was faltering beneath the strain of the beast's mounting power. The colors began to dim. What if Tara hesitated, drawing in a breath thick with desperation? What if we split our energies? Distract it while we push the seal together. "Are you crazy?" Sarah gasped. "That could be our only chance." Tara interrupted, the determination solidifying her voice. "It's all or nothing. You trust me, right?" The weight of the moment hung heavily in the air, and Sarah searched Tara's eyes, seeking reassurance. Finally, she nodded, fear mingling with resolve. "Okay," Tara shouted, adrenaline kicking in. "On my mark." We split, and when it lunges, we hit it with everything we've got. 1, 2, 3. In a flash, they broke apart, hearts racing as they danced through the chaos. The creature lunged, jaws snapping inches from Tara's face as she spun away, heading toward the pedestal. With their bond still tethered, Tara and Sarah poured everything they had into the seal again, the energies coalescing. Bright light arced from the pedestal, illuminating the terror around them. But the beast wasn't done. With raw fury, it barreled toward Sarah, who stood trembling at the edge of the light, just as clueless as Tara once was. Tara's heart pounded. "Sarah, move." Time slowed. Tara could see the beast preparing to strike. It lunged with a violent force, but in that instant, something inexplicable happened. Tara reached deep within, tapping into her memories the warmth of love, the light of hope, all the passions that linked her to life poured into the seal. A surge of blinding energy exploded forward, encasing the beast in a churning cauldron of light. Momentarily caught off guard, its fury twisted into confusion. Tara caught a glimpse of Sarah, horror plastered on her face as she saw the creature's claws sweeping downward. "Sarah!" Tara screamed, her heart thrumming, clenching her teeth. She pushed harder, refusing to let fear win. Just when it seemed all was lost, the bonds of friendship ignited with wild fire, shattering the beast's focus. The energy surged. "Now!" They shouted in unison, releasing all they had left into the seal. The pedestal erupted with light, and a high-pitched wail cut through the air as the darkness began to retract. The creature bucked in anger, the chains of light pulling tighter, wrapping around its limbs. But something shifted. Tara felt it, a faint flicker of something deeper than just fear, something dark awakening beneath the surface. "Is it trying to break free?" Sarah whispered, eyes wide in horror. The ground shook again as the pedestal flickered ominously. "The symbols, they're fading," Tara shouted, panic clawing at her chest. With a bone-chilling roar, the beast slammed against the barrier, and a crack splintered through the pedestal. Tara's stomach dropped as realization swept over her. They weren't merely battling the creature, they were awakening something ancient and malevolent. Hold on. The figure urged, squeezing their hands. But just as they did, the ground began to quiver ominously. Don't let it break us. Tara cried, summoning every ounce of strength. As the chamber trembled, and the beast's ultimate cry pierced the cacophony, Tara's voice broke. What have we unleashed? With the shadows laughing around them, they fought, desperate to hold on as the world spiraled into chaos. Could they truly conquer what lay in wait, or were they simply the prelude to an even greater darkness? The earth shook beneath them, a visceral reminder that the fight against the beast was far from over. As the room quivered, the very space felt alive with rage, claws scraping and gnashing teeth echoing down every corridor. Tara struggled to keep her grip on the pulsating energy of the seal. Fear wrapped around her heart like a snake, squeezing. Sarah's face was pale, eyes wide with desperation. Tara, we can't let it break free, she whimpered, drawing closer to her friend, their hands tightly interlocked. Concentrate. Tara shouted, feeling the growing pulse of energy within her. We have to do this together. The metallic figure beside them, who had guided them through shadow and peril, faced the beast with grim determination. Remember what you're fighting for, he urged, though doubt danced behind his eyes. With every roar from the beast, more shadows clawed at their minds, feeding off their fear. Tara thought of home, warmth, and the innocent laughter of her childhood. She recalled the bond she shared with Sarah, a pact made in the depths of the woods that was now their lifeline. They were here together, facing the darkness hand in hand. It was time to rise up. On my mark, Tara said, steeling her nerves. 1, 2, 3. They unleashed their combined energies into the seal, hands outstretched, wills aligned. The pedestal blazed to life, sending arcs of light swirling and crashing into the incoming shadows, forcing it back, but the beast only roared louder, the echo reverberating like thunder. The walls quaked dangerously, throwing the three into a disorienting spin. More. The figure cried out as the pedestal flickered. You have to find your strength from within. Tara took a deep breath. It was time to dig deeper. Closing her eyes, she summoned every ounce of courage, every beautiful memory of friendship, all the laughter shared. Her voice rang out strong, breaking through the din, we will not let you take us. With a deep, primal scream, she felt power surge from the core of her being, a bright, enduring light exploding from her as she yanked Sarah into its warmth. The energy flared, wrapping around the beast, constraining it. The darkness twisted and howled, clawing against its restraints. Suddenly, a slashing pain ripped through Tara's leg, a fierce reminder of what they fought against. No! Sarah shouted, panic flaring in her voice. Keep going. Tara urged, pain morphing into a motivator. We can't stop. They needed to seal the beast away, to quiet the horror that stalked them. Just as the seal began to shimmer brighter, the creature's feral eyes locked onto them, filled with malignant rage. Let it go. The beast howled, scrambling against the bright chains of light binding it. Don't let it intimidate you. The metallic figure barked. Focus on why you came together. Tara remembered her promise never to abandon the soldier or each other. They had committed to each other beneath the dark canopy of trees, and that shared resolve fueled her further. Together. Tara cried, digging in her heels against the howling winds of doubt. As they united their minds, a warmth enveloped them. Light erupted, casting away shadow, transcending the prison of fear. The beast shrieked, rattling the edges of their consciousness, but Tara and Sarah stood firm. They channeled everything from deep within their friendship, resilience, and an unwavering belief in survival. With one final, resounding cry, they threw themselves fully into the seal, pouring all they had left. The blast surged and flooded the chamber, illuminating its depths. The very air warped and twisted with energy. The beast writhed, its formidable form shrinking, losing the fight against the binding light. Now! The figure shouted as the pedestal pulsed rhythmically with extraordinary energy. Tara and Sarah pushed one last time, their voices ringing like bells, summoning every ounce of hope and love. With an earth-shattering shockwave, chains of brilliant light erupted from the pedestal and ensnared the beast and drew it into the darkness below, wrapping it in a cocoon of shimmering energy that needed to withstand the force of its fury. Then silence fell. Tara blinked, feeling disorientation wrap around her like a fateful shroud. The chamber, once vibrating with chaos, pulsed quietly, illuminated by gentle rays of light the beast quelled, transformed into nothing more than shadows retreating into forgotten corners. The figure turned to them, eyes brightening. "You've done it. You sealed it away." Tara stumbled, exhaustion washing over her like a wave, and Sarah's grip on her arm tightened. They exchanged a glance, a bond unbroken, forged in darkness and light. But forget the darkness above. The soldier, their promise loomed large. "Where is he?" Tara gasped, her breath still heavy from the exertion. The figure waved a hand toward a faint light beginning to glimmer in the distance, pathways unblocked. Tara felt a resolve swell. "Let us go find him," she said, hope igniting anew. Together, they pushed forward, leaving the shadows behind, embracing the light with each step. As they emerged from the cavern, Tara glanced up at the vast, starry sky. The darkness of the forest once looming now felt different. A promise of a bright future, held close by the bond of friendship, echoing her heart in beats of hope. And so, they stepped out of the shadows, welcoming the dawn, a newfound adventure on the horizon. This was not just the end, it was a new beginning. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you won't miss exclusive stories like this one. Hit that like button to help us spread the love and feed the algorithm. And I want to see you flood that comments section with your thoughts and theories about the ending. Don't wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this epic conclusion. You need to show your support.